Today is a big day for the hyperspectral imaging business. We are here for a product launch of HySpex. Welcome everyone. I would like to remind all of you, this meeting is broadcasted live in YouTube. So hello people in YouTube. If you have any questions for HySpex or any of the other participants in the supply chain of HySpex present today in the Zoom channel, all you have to do is post the question in the YouTube channel. I also would like to remind all of you, if you want to get in touch with each other after the meeting, all you have to do is send me an email, jose.pozo@epic-asoc.com, jose.pozo@epic-asoc.com. I will be so happy to make these introductions. This is today. Today is the first ever Epic product launch, and we chose a fantastic and super innovative company in the Epic network. I'm really amazed of what these people in Norway are doing. But mostly, I also want to show that I'm also offering this. We are offering this to any company out of the 600 members in Epic. If you are releasing a product within the next 2 months, all you have to do is send an email to Epic, and we'll make sure that we arrange an online meeting like this one with lots of views in YouTube, and with, most important, the supply chain present there and the press present there for you to actually launch the product Epic style. Thank you very much for this HySpex. It's the first one, but the first one of many. Once again, any Epic member, 600 members as of today, any Epic member who wants to launch a product with Epic, it is for free. All you have to do is send us an email, info@epic-asoc.com, and we'll be happy to do it the way that we are doing it today with HySpex. HySpex is here with the CEO, with the product manager, very highly represented in with potential users of their camera business. I'm extremely happy to be here with you, with all of you. Trond, are you ready? Let's get the thing going. Today, HySpex releases the SWIR 640 camera.
This is the HySpex SWIR 640 camera, and it's a game changer. You wanted a universal hyperspectral camera with sharper optics and greater spectral fidelity per pixel at an affordable price.
I am very happy to announce that we are releasing this brand new SWIR camera.
The SWIR 640 gives you 640 spatial pixels and 360 spectral bands with the spectral fidelity and optical quality HySpex is renowned for.
I have been using HySpex systems for more than 17 years now and can recommend these systems.
The HySpex SWIR 640 leads the industry on performance, offering sharper optics and a state-of-the-art detector while cutting spatial and spectral misregistration errors to less than 10% per pixel.
HySpex provides imagers with the lowest amount of distortions on the market today, getting our customers up and running immediately at a lower overall cost.
Wow! Amazing spatial resolution!
You can rely on the SWIR 640 for accurate and consistent pixel level detection in all field, lab, and airborne applications. Geology, vegetation, mining, food quality, military.
The new SWIR 640 camera can be a game changer.
The HySpex SWIR 640 camera. It's epic.
It is indeed epic with 640 pixels and 320 spectral lines. SWIR camera, welcome to the Epic network, welcome to the Epic community. I can't wait to see results from this fantastic product. I am super excited about this. I'm gonna give the floor to one of the key important people on the product release today. Is the product manager, is Halvard. Halvard, thank you very much for this amazing opportunity to do the first ever Epic product launch. The floor and the attention of everyone goes to the SWIR 640 camera, goes to you.
Thank you, Jose, and thank you for the opportunity to present for all of you guys here today. Well, as some of you know, Trond was supposed to take this, but got a bit late from a meeting, so I was thrown under the bus, so to say, and have already received compliments for my underdressing. But I'll try to take you guys through this as good as I can. So I'll start by sharing my slideshow right here. All right. So hopefully you can all see this.
Crystal clear.
Yeah, awesome. So new product, SWIR 640. That sums it up really, but I'll go into a bit more details here. So this is one of the classic cameras from HySpex. It can be used for lab, field, and airborne applications, and has all of the low distortions and the quality and spectral fidelity per pixel that HySpex is renowned for. So the same data quality as you've come to know from the 384 and all that, you can get that in the 640 just by more spatial pixels and spectral bands. 360 spectral bands, by the way. So that's pretty cool. So that's the beast right there to the right with a nice new logo on it. The agenda for today, I decided to make it as well, not as terse as possible, but at least as relevant as possible. So we'll be going through the spec sheet, more or less, of this system and show on every point, more or less, how this is a truly scientific grade and true HySpex quality product. So let's start with the spectral range. This is a shortwave infrared camera. It's covering the full range from 1,000 to 2,500 nanometers, a bit more, as you can say. And what's important here is, of course, to mention that it covers that full range. It's not a InGaAs camera or anything like that, but an MCT. So you get the full spectral coverage. And you can see the QE here. That's the QE of the entire system. So that includes the optics and the gratings and all that. It's fairly flat for all the wavelengths in that spectral range. So I'll move on to 640 spatial pixels. That's not the biggest surprise of today, I suppose, but it's important to note that this is often mistakenly referred to as the resolution, the spatial resolution of the camera. But this will actually depend on the point spread function and any spatial misregistration that you might have. So it's important that when you're looking at a system that this is documented thoroughly. So these plots right here are taken from different pixels in the field of view of the system. And you can see the full width half max of the broadband point spread function there for different pixels in the field of view. And it varies with, well, it's around 1.1, less than 1.1 pixel in the entire field of view. And you can also see that the keystone plots that we got there, which is the spatial misregistration, is close to negligible all over that range. All right. And this is an article that we, our researchers just published. It's also, you can find it on LinkedIn if you go to our link there on the top, which shows you something about how keystone affects the quality of the data. And also the shape of the point spread function, how that, if that varies a lot, that'll affect the quality of the data. So these are 5 different cameras with actual hyperspectral data. And you can see for large keystone, which is the main contributor here, you can get up to 50% errors in your actual data. So managing the keystone and the spatial misregistration in the hyperspectral cameras is absolutely key to getting a high quality system with a pixel fidelity that you would like to have. All right. Yeah, you can all go in and download that paper as well, and we'll obviously go into a little bit more detail than I did just now. So spectral channels, that's the next one here, 360. This will of course depend on the spectral point spread function and the spectral misregistration that we got in the system. And if you have too many bands, you can get a lower SNR per band, or just require more integration time as you got more channels to spread the light on. So this is obviously related to the spectral sampling interval that we got, 4.28 nanometers. But again, it's important not to confuse this with the true spectral resolution, which will depend on the optic throughout the system and the spectral misregistration and all that you get. So let's look at that as well. Here we got 4 different plots across the spectral. I just had to move some of you guys here so I can see what I'm talking about. So you got 4 different plots of the point spread function across the spectral range of the system. And as you can see, this varies within 10% of one pixel for all these points from 2014 and all the way to 2026. We also have the spectral misregistration at the bottom there, where you can see the entire y-axis here is about 10% of a pixel. So it's extremely sharp and extremely well put together system this. So because of this, well, we got 1.1 here, as we're not fully sure exactly where the different light sources here hit. If it's right between 1 band or 2, we say 1.2 in the spectral resolutions. That's 5.14 nanometers for this camera. All right, so rushing through this is 0.5, 6, and 11, just because they're a little bit related at least. So that's the field of view. This system comes with 16 degrees field of view as the standard. We can put on a field of view expander as we can for all our cameras, all our classical cameras, which will double the field of view. So that will give you 0.42 milliradians in the pixel field of view across in the long track, or double that if you use the field of view expander. The max speed at full resolution for this system is 140 frames per second. So that's capturing the everything on the FPA there. And with this specs, you will get all of these fantastic numbers popping out by using the range of close-up lenses that we got. So in order not to screw up the SMILE and the keystone, the spatial and spectral misregistration, it's very important that you use optics or close-up lenses that are tailor-made for that system. So got a range of lenses, which will be useful then, the microscope and up to 1 meter for laboratory use, and then the 3 meter and all the way up to 50 meters for field use. And then you can take off the lens and use it with just a plain window if you're in the field for long distances or in an airplane. So yeah, it's no need for me to read up all these numbers, but you can see the field of view and the pixel sizes that you're getting, as long as along with the scan speed that you'd be getting as well. So all this is obviously controlled through the HySpex software. So when you insert one lens, the scan stage will move corresponding to what lens you got in, to make sure that you got proper or that you get square pixels. All right. So this is a plot. We have a nice little Excel sheet showing the frame times that you can use, the integration times for all different heights and speeds if you're using this in an airplane. And it's a little bit, well, not too graphic, so I tried to make it a bit more graphic here. It's probably not as readable as the other sheet, but at least you can see the screen portion here, as if you use a frame period of 7.14, I guess it is, milliseconds, or more than that, and the speeds you can fly at, and the ground sampling resolution you will get at different altitudes right here. Hopefully you can see my cursor because I'm pointing at my presentation. Obviously, this is doubled if you use the field of view expander. Yeah. So you can all go back in and take a deep dive into this at some later point, I'm sure. So this is, of course, very useful. We have several customers who've been using 2 of our 384s side by side with field reducers to get the same kind of resolution that you now can get with just 1 camera. So in terms of saving costs and all that, obviously having this 1 camera rather than 2 and the custom-made optics is beneficial. All right. So 789 here is the bit resolution. It's a 16-bit camera, noise floor, 80 electrons noise floor, and a dynamic range of 8,000. Yeah. So the 80 electrons noise floor is for global shutter mode and integrate while read, which is what all our cameras have. And for the dynamic range, it's obviously important to consider this together with the bit depth to make sure that you can resolve whatever noise you got and get good signals. All right. So peak SNR, rushing to that now, at full resolution is more than 800. Again, we got some extra points to say about this. The peak SNR doesn't really say anything about the system, but you need to have the SNR curve as a function of wavelength. That's written here. And a given input spectra together with the integration time that is that SNR curve is generated for, just to make sure that you can get enough signal in for the relevant features in your spectra when you're looking at it. And what do you know? We got that as well for this system. So to the left here, you can see the spectra from our integrating SWIR, covering the whole spectral range from 400 and all the way up. And then we got the signal to noise curve for the 640 to the right there. And you can see the integration time up there as well. So you can see we're about 800 as our peak SNR there. And then the power consumption, I'm coming rapidly here towards the end. 10 watts, max 20 watts at startup. So that's fairly manageable for most applications. Obviously, it depends on the ambient temperature, but that's the max that we got there. Dimensions 36 by 11 by 15 centimeters. I apologize for not having that in feet and inches for all the Americans there. And the weight as well is 4.1 kilos, which is of course the weight of the camera itself. You have the accessories that will go with it, but it's nothing too dramatic for this camera. We got a nice little lunchbox laptop you can bring with you in the field together with the tripod. So for this camera, it really is the weight and the size of the camera that drives the, or is important to know before heading off to a field campaign. The camera interface for this camera is camera link, where we do, as always, have a trigger to image reliability. So you're sure that you never miss one frame or any frame when you're acquiring data. So that basically wraps up everything here in one nice little spec sheet. Hopefully we've been giving you some of the details behind it and what you need to evaluate to make sure that this truly is a scientific grade quality instrument. The plots that I've been showing and you've been seeing throughout this presentation comes from a, well, say 30-page test report that we produce with every single camera that we're manufacturing, so that you can make sure that all, well, whatever camera you're getting has the performance that we promise, and you can read up on the details in that test report as well. So that's the presentation I got. I don't know if there are any questions or any comments at all.
This is the epic part of the meeting. So there's a lot of questions and there are a lot of room for cooperation, collaboration, testing, deployment, sales. This is what is going to make the meeting great. But first of all, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the CEO of HySpex, Trond. My good friend Trond is here. Congratulations, yes. Trond Locke, for this amazing achievement.
Thank you very much, Jose.
What does it mean for a company like HySpex to deploy this amazing product in the market?
Oh, we are really excited, right? So adding, as you know, in the hyperspectral industry, there's always been a lack of SWIR pixels. And yeah, so we are very excited now to release a product with almost twice as many pixels as before. So it's really good.
Today we have in front of you the whole world. This is a global event. We have companies from Japan all the way to Colombia, really covering the whole globe to make sure that we can actually analyze them with 320 spectral lines and 640 pixels. I'm going to go to some of the users of this camera. I'm very excited about this. I'm going to go to Denver. I'm going to go to Denver, Colorado. I'm going to go to my new friend, Raymond from USGS. First of all, Raymond, what do you do in hyperspectral imaging?
Thank you so much for this opportunity to see this launch. It's very interesting to us because for the last 30 years, we've been looking at imaging spectrometer data, but usually from scientific sources, government sources. So it's good to see that this industry is really developing. And we've been applying the data to everything from geologic studies to biological studies of vegetation, invasive species, and hydrology, looking at water quality. So our needs for this type of data are very large, and we're really looking forward to seeing more sources of data and better quality data.
One of the parts of better quality data we saw in the presentation, both hardware and software improvements on the current state of the art of the camera systems. Do you have some wish list or some ideas that you would like to get from this amazing product?
Well, we always want bigger swath, finer spectral resolution, and higher signal to noise. So we basically want it all. So, and a lot of times that's not achievable, but we really want to push for the best possible data we can get for all those applications that I mentioned.
Harvard, they are targeting the geology market. This is a market that HySpex has been looking very carefully at. How do you see this camera a unique selling point for the geology deployment field?
You were asking me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
My product manager of the product. Yes.
Yeah. No, well, we've frequently been asked about this lack of SWIR pixels, as Tim was mentioning, in getting higher and higher resolution. So our goal, as always, is of course to maintain the spectral fidelity and provide a high quality product, even though we're increasing the pixel count. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's important to notice here that this is not a like 384 optics with 640 detector on it. It's a spectrograph tailored with extremely sharp pixels or sharp optics per pixel, both spectrally and spatially. So you are getting at if you count, I really like to count price per effective pixel, and then this camera, I would say, is by far the cheapest camera per effective pixel on the market today.
The price per effective pixel it has been a dream for the hyperspectral imaging community to actually go into that kind of parameter. And that's something that I want to ask you to another user in the room. I'm going to go to one of my favorite countries in the world. I'm gonna go to Colombia. I'm gonna go to Bogota, the capital, and I'm gonna go to my new friend Daniel. Daniel, bienvenido de Argentina. Welcome to this meeting. Tell us about EcoPatrol and tell us about what you expect from HySpex camera.
Yes, hello everybody. Well, I am a metrologist. I am a user. I've been using hyperspectral cameras in the past for usually field applications and actually core scanning in the lab. So usually it's not remote sensing, not from an airplane, but near range scanning. In EcoPatrol, we have started recently we started a program into machine learning and big data mining for the whole database of the company. And each well has many forms of digital data, but the core, usually the rock core that we extract from the wells and the rock chips that we obtain when we drill are usually not are described by hand, and they're never scanned in any form other than taking a picture of them. So we ran experiments in the past when I was in my PhD about showing that you could, of course there are many papers about this, but you can recognize different minerals and different actually types of rocks that you can put in a machine learning algorithm and actually mine them and combine them actually with other well logs to actually learn from the data much more than you could learn from actually describing it by one geologist and the bios. Geology is actually a quite subjective discipline, so it's good to have actually data that it will not change with the viewer, So then the interpretation could change, but you could at least have the data that is solid. Actually, in the US Geological Survey, United States, they've been pioneers of this technology with the planes that they're more than 30 years old, and they have basically learned from a lot from them, but from their original papers. And I'm trying to push it into the oil industry, which actually is not an early adopter of this technology, surprisingly enough. So we have a lot of applications. It's a matter of convincing the managers that this is the right thing to do. And I think it's a cheap and non-destructive technology. So I think scanning cores will be the right thing to do.
If the managers are looking for high resolution and affordability, they have nowhere to go than to HySpex. But I want to ask now Halvard, our project manager here today, how do you feel about the oil and gas market segment? Is there a big opportunity there for us?
There is quite a bit. It's one of the trickiest questions that I'm always getting asked is what kind of applications do you see this being the killer camera for? Because we're just simple-minded instrument manufacturers, and the rest of you guys are the guys with the know-how and how stuff can be used. But obviously, we've been working with a lot of like the petroleum in mineralogy and all that kind of segment earlier. So this can definitely be used here. Environmental monitoring as well. We can see quite a bit of useful applications for as well.
Fantastic, because now we're going to go to remote sensing. I told you that Colombia is one of my favorite countries, but in the US, my favorite state by far, Nevada. I'm going to go to a beautiful, beautiful company. I know TerraCore very well. Kevin, thank you very much for being with us today. You are an expert on remote sensing. You saw the product launch. Kevin, what do you think of this? And what kind of deployment fields we can do in your market segment?
Hi. Yeah, I think the product is extremely is a game changer. It will be interesting to see how it goes. In the remote sensing field and geology and at TerraCore, we analyze drill core, so it'll be the highest spatial resolution is key. So that's really cool.
This event is a global event, so somehow Europe, of course, is represented, and the R&D center leading hyperspectral imaging for space is ONERA. And I'm very happy, extremely happy to have Philip with us this beautiful afternoon here in the Netherlands. I hope the weather is great in France as well. Philip, you saw the product launch. This is a spectacular product. Your team has excellent research papers on using hyperspectral imaging from the air and looking always to having hyperspectral cameras that have the right aspect ratio to be deployed in air. What did you think of this camera?
Well, yeah, it's certainly a game changer. What is very interesting is the fact that there are more spectral resolution, better spectral resolution, and one thing that I appreciate a lot with HySpex camera is the fact that we can use either in lab or in the air. For example, for oil application, we can make measurement in labs. We can make measurement in the country, but at 10 meters, let's say. And we also made some acquisition in the air. So that's a complete way to study our many subjects. That's great.
We have been seeing in the past in videos and marketing material from HySpex lots of different collaborations in which their hyperspectral cameras hardware have been actually put in different aircraft types of environments. This is a key market for you, isn't it?
Yeah, about 50% of the installations that we got has been for airborne customers, and the system has been installed in anything that can fly. Basically, we've mounted them on big drones that were big enough to lift it. Thrown spin to some rusty old World War II engines and put it up there, and even large airships. So we're platform agnostic there as well.
When it comes to aerospace, I didn't want to have a fully defense-oriented Q&A now. We have it in a separate private meeting, of course, but we have to do a more accurate ground observation. And I think that's clear, is one of the key segments. We expect to have a large volume of cameras being needed for Earth observation. Are you discussing this with the European Space Agency and trying to deploy this in different European space programs, Halvard?
Yeah, we are definitely discussing it with the European Space Agency and whatever space agencies we can come across. Trond might have some more detail on actually what we're allowed to share on that part. So maybe I should leave the floor to you.
Yeah. So as Halvard said, we are this discussed in detail with those, but we have parallel projects with the different space agencies.
Today, the editor-in-chief of one of the most important magazines in photonics in Europe, Photonics Views, is here with us. Oliver is also a very good personal friend of mine. Oliver, thank you very much for being in this important day for the photonics community in Europe. Tell us what's on your mind.
Hi, thanks, Jose. Thanks for having me here. I hope you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Wonderful. We heard the name or the expression game changer now like twice from the audience and in the intro movie. I'm not an expert in the field of hyperspectral imaging. So how much of a game changer is it? How much is the factor that you gain frames per second wise, resolution wise, pixel wise, bandwidth wise, wavelength wise? Give me an idea.
Yeah, well, I would say that the games that we're changing is not in terms of the frames per second. The 384 is a lot faster. It can go up to 400 frames per second, but it's all in with respect to the resolution that you're getting here. So the spatial resolution and the spectral resolution is what makes this a game changer in that sense, that you get a lot finer resolution. So which game specifically it'll be changing, I would leave for our users again to figure out. But for us, at least, it's a big leap forward.
So following up on that, actually, it's very interesting that we talk about resolution, but in your video, which by the way is amazing, you talk about minimizing errors. Why do the errors you speak about matter? What is so crucial about minimizing these errors? Halvard, take this, or Trond.
Yeah, so I can start. I'm on the train, so but I will try. So this is like what we are selling is an imaging spectrometer. So basically, we are trying to sell a camera that gives you 640 spectrometers, and that the spectra in each of those pixels are not dependent on the pixels next to it. And if you have distortions, you will have an unlinear error in your spectra due to the, what is in your pixel next to your pixel of interest. And if you saw from Hal's presentation, he had a graph there, which actually shows this is based on simulated hyperspectral data. So if you have airborne data, so in this one, if you have a camera with 50% keystone, you will actually get a relative error that is 50% from a normal airborne scene, which is huge. So you cannot brag about your peak SNR or whatever if you have a lot of distortions. So this is one of the key quality parameters in a hyperspectral system, but maybe also the one that's negligible or neglected the most, I would say.
I don't know, Halvard, you would like to add something to that?
No, I would just like to specify what is that neglected the most, not the most negligible. But yeah, so.
One thing that we talk a lot about distortion. We have seen this, and we know clearly that this is the biggest parameter affecting image quality in general. So, is there a standard parameter to actually do some metrology on distortion, so we can actually have some kind of comparison here?
Yes, that's a very good question. And there is actually a IEEE project called P4001, where we are all together, the key opinion leaders, us and our competitors, we are all there trying to make a standard on how to characterize these cameras. And then for the user, it will be a standard way of comparing them as well. So in the future, I hope that our data sheets, it will be easier for the user to actually compare cameras from different suppliers.
At Epic, you know very well, we are connecting all the entire supply chain, trying to learn from each other, and the idea of having a standard to measure the distortion has been a dream, a personal dream of mine, and I'm happy that we are all working together, hand in hand, to actually solve that problem. You know, the press is here. The press is here, and I love the press, and I love ASO Network. Thank you very much for being with us this beautiful afternoon here in the Netherlands. What did you think of this product, Megan?
Hi, yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's fantastic to be here. That presentation was so interesting. It's just really good you can just see the excitement coming from all of you, how excited you are about it. And I can't wait to sort of see it out in the market. I was thinking, like, obviously you're working in markets such as like airborne and geology and lab and things like that. Is there any sort of markets which you are trying to tap into a little bit more? I know you spoke a little bit about the oil and gas. Is there anything that you sort of see sort of right on the horizon and you think could open up a whole new doorway through this product?
Well, we've been focusing quite a bit on mineral applications. Well, everything from geology to mining companies and all that. Yeah, as one of the key industries or segments, if you like, that we would like to focus on. We're also seeing quite a bit more now, actually, because typically the visible to near infrared has been a vegetation-dominated segment, but we're seeing quite a bit of interest in the short-wave infrared there as well. So yeah, I would say that's the two leading, maybe.
Yeah, cool, exciting times.
Definitely.
One of the other big food.
Halvard, one of the things that for me is very interesting about the product launch is to see what we can do to deploy this product to satisfy the need of system integrators. At the end of the day, what I do for a living is to connect companies, and I love doing that. So let's think about your preferred future, Harvard, for this product, your preferred future, and which companies we can bring you at Epic to make it happen.
Yeah, well, our ideal future is, of course, that we never get to make a demo camera of this system, and that everything is just pulled straight off the shelves as soon as we make them. But for us, it's been important in terms of customers or people to use the systems. Of course, every customer has been equally important in that sense, and the importance of giving a well characterized and high quality system to for every delivery is very important. We see that people having Onera, having USGS, which we've been speaking to already as references or people who can vouch for us is of course awesome. But yeah, in terms of the mining industry, bring me whatever. I'll be happy to deal with them.
The preferred future is that we're going to deploy this camera in agriculture, in space, in smart cities, and we're going to make it happen. Thank you, HySpex, for bringing the photonic innovation all the way to products, and thank you for choosing Epic, and in particular, thank you for choosing me because I'm such a lover of hyperspectral imaging. Thank you for being an Epic company. I love Norway. I love HySpex. Thank you so much. I would like to also thank all the participants in the room. We had the entire supply chain, companies like Xenix, like Enverion, we had Ecopetrol, we have of course Onera, Solocean, USGS, ASO Network, the entire supply chain from the detectors of Enverion all the way to the end users, all the way in USGS. Thank you, Raymond. I think you are going to be one of the first ones to use this camera. Thank you, Daniel, joining all the way from Bogota. In general, thanks everyone for being epic. Until the next time, this was Jose Pozo, a geek that loves how innovation in photonics keeps ruling the world. Until the next time, be epic. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you all.
Thanks.
Bye.